Rupa Huq has been suspended as a sitting Labour MP after making allegedly racist comments about Kwasi Kwarteng. She referred to the Chancellor as being superficially black at a Labour Party event. Since then, both Labour Party leader Sir Keir Starmer and the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, have called the comment racist. Ms Huq has apologised, but an investigation has been launched. Lord Taylor of Warwick joins me in the studio now to discuss this. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Andrew.
Thanks for coming. So this is an interesting one because we've all seen the clip of Rupa Huq making this comment.
Yeah.
Is it the case that this was just a misjudged comment in the moment? It wasn't thought through. I mean, she's a very intelligent woman. It does seem surprising that she'd come out with this. What's your view on that?
Well, Andrew, I've got some breaking news for you. There's only one race, the human race.
Yeah.
It was stupid, really. What she was doing was defining people by the colour of their skin, which actually is racism. I'm just concerned that she felt able to say that at a Labour Party conference. That's what really worries me. She's not stupid, but I just feel that, you know, it was Martin Luther King who said that he wanted his children to be judged by the content of their character, not the colour of their skin.
Yes. Do you feel that, I mean, increasingly over the past few years, I've seen suggestions that the Labour Party as a whole is drifting into this sort of identitarian worldview where they reduce people to their various demographics, be that race, gender, sexuality, and that actually this kind of comment is the logical endpoint. Is if you start thinking that way, then you start seeing people first and foremost in those terms.
Well, it's all about woke, and they need to wake up, not woke up. I mean, you know, I had a situation some years ago. I went to a business event in the city, and I was going to speak about diversity. And I walked in and I said, Lord Taylor of Warwick. And there was an elderly concierge there, white shirt. Said, "Oh yeah, Lord Taylor, Warwick. Yeah, you're a driver, mate. You know, I hope you ain't parked on a double yellow line. You know, no, I am Lord Taylor of Warwick. Oh, sorry. I thought, you know, he was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can't define people by skin colour. It's just melanin. That's all it is.
So that kind of assumption that you've just outlined, I mean, that's something that obviously is troubling, and we shouldn't live in a society where people make those assumptions.
But it's the left that's doing that. Look at our cabinet now. The Home Secretary, the Foreign Secretary, the Chancellor, all from ethnic minority communities.
But a lot of people have said, and I've seen this time and again, I know it's only Twitter and social media, so it shouldn't really count, but I see a lot of people saying that that's just tokenism. But it feels like, I mean, it's the most ethnically diverse cabinet we've had. The Conservatives have been have had a great success rate in promoting ethnic minority people to cabinet positions. Why is it that Labour seem to be struggling in that regard?
One of the reasons why I did not join the Labour Party is because they treat black people as victims. We're victors. I don't want sympathy. I want equality. And that's really why I became a Conservative. Now, I have issues with the Conservative Party. I was the first black Conservative Party candidate in Cheltenham, way back, before you were born, I think. I nearly caused a race row. But, you know, since then we've moved on. And I applaud, you know, people like Kwasi, who's achieved on merit. I don't agree with all the things he's doing at the moment with the mini budget. He's shown some naivety and some mistakes, but he's not stupid. What Rupa Huq is saying, in effect, is if you're black, you can't speak well, you can't be well educated. That is racism.
I mean, there was something interesting about what she said, because she said that had she heard him on the radio, she wouldn't have assumed he was black. And the implication is what you've just said, that, well, if he's well-spoken, her mind leaps to white.
It's also hypocrisy because I was a guest speaker at Rupa Huq's school, which is a fee-paying private school, and she went to Cambridge just like Kwasi.
But things have changed, like you say. I mean, some of your experiences in those early days must have testified to the existence of a seriously racist problem in the country.
Yes, but I think we have to be real. We've all got insecurities, whether you're black, white, whatever colour you are. But we are one nation. God has created diversity, which is fantastic, and we've got to celebrate that and use it, not define people by their skin colour.
Do you think that some people, and particularly maybe in the Labour Party, have failed to appreciate how much progress has been made? And maybe it is that their minds are still stuck at a time where oppression on the basis of race was more commonplace?
I think that's it. It's this victim mentality again. I am a victor. I don't want sympathy. I want equality of opportunity. The Labour Party have patronised the black community, and I think people are beginning to realise this. I've got many friends in all the main parties. I'm not here to bash the Labour Party, but they've got to wake up, not woke up.
Do you think that there is a kind of complacency when it comes to ethnic minority voters? I mean, you see this in America with the Democrats. There's an assumption, isn't there, that black people will vote for the Democrats and not for the Republicans. And of course, in the last election, they had a wake-up call when lots of ethnic minority people voted the way they weren't meant to.
Yeah. Well, Joe Biden, if you remember, he actually said, well, you can't be black if you vote Republican.
Yes, he said,
I mean, that's really patronising.
I mean, that's an incredible idea as well. And one of the examples I've given in the past is when the entrepreneur Peter Thiel appeared at the Republican conference and an American gay magazine said, well, Peter Thiel might sleep with men, but he's not gay because he supports the Republicans.
Yeah.
So why? I mean, it sounds ludicrous, but we appear to have reached a point where the assumption must be that being a minority group, part of it is about your politics.
Absolutely. And diversity of thought. You know, I don't agree with everything that Kwasi is doing, but I respect the fact that he's achieved. He needs help at the moment, I'm sure, but I'm not going to say you're black, so, you know, speak ghetto. That's ridiculous.
So should we just be forgetting about... Not that we don't notice skin colour, but we shouldn't be thinking about...
No, it's the content of your character, your ability. What are you contributing, not the colour of your skin. It's sheer melanin. That's all it is. But God has created that diversity. Let's celebrate that.
But people would say that it's very important for all political parties to focus on race because there is still the problem of lingering racism in the country.
There is, but it's a journey, not an event. You know, we're getting towards it. I mean, look at London. It's the most diverse city in the world. Let's celebrate this.
But the Mayor of London said that Londoners face systemic racism.
He's the Mayor of London, and the last time I looked, he's got a brown skin.
Interesting. What do you think? I mean, you mentioned the mini-budget, and I do want to ask you a little bit about that, because it's obviously polarised a lot of people. Where do you stand on it? And you mentioned that you had some reservations. Can you be more specific?
I agree with the theme of growth, and I'm delighted that they've capped energy costs for people, the personal bills, and also for business.
Yes.
That was good. And reversing the national insurance hike.
Yes.
What was bad was bringing in the income tax reduction for the higher paid. The British people are very concerned about fairness, and it looks as if the Tory party were punishing the poor and giving, you know, favour to the rich. I don't think that's true, but the way they did it was so poor. And, you know, to miss out the OBI and not, you know, take their views into account.
I mean, that's very interesting, isn't it? Actually, some of this might be about the way things are presented. Do you think, for instance, that the scrapping the cap on bankers' bonuses just sends... It's
symbolic, yeah.
And it's a kind of open goal in a way, because that's very easy to criticise.
Well, I think this week's very important at the party conference that Liz Truss has really got to put over in a better way what she's trying to achieve. Something had to be done. I mean, some people think that Liz Truss is more wooden than Sherwood Forest. I'm not saying that, but she needs to really communicate with people, not just the head, but the heart.
Do you think then it's a question of charisma? I mean, people have made that claim about her in the past, that she doesn't have that kind of presidential style or the bombastic style of Boris Johnson, you know, and that could be her own doing?
We don't want a circus clown as Prime Minister, but you need to be empathetic with people. You know, not everyone can be chairman of ICI. There are people choosing between heating and eating. You know, show that you care about the poorest, not just the millionaires.
Yeah. We haven't got much time, but just before we leave, I just want to come back to this point about what you describe as the woke movement.
Yeah.
And do you feel that overall, even though the intentions of so many of those activists are to make a more equal society, do you think that they are being successful, or are they driving us backwards?
No, they're driving us backwards because they're making people feel... Everybody in this audience has challenges, but you can't go around... I mean, life is about a roadblock or a speed bump, and you have to find your way around things. Otherwise, you think, I can't do this, I'm black, I can't do this, I'm disabled. That is what the woke generation is doing. It'll set us backwards. We're a great nation. My wife's from Texas. Britain is smaller than Texas. Look at, you know... Shakespeare, Dickens, the Bible. We're a great nation. Let's believe in ourselves.
So, in short, is it that activists shouldn't be telling children, you're always going to be a victim, you're always going to be oppressed?
It's an insult, absolute insult. You know, IQ is not post-coded. So there are geniuses in the East End of London, black, who could be Prime Minister one day. Let's tell that child you can achieve something, not, oh, you're black, you know, you can't get a job. It's an insult.
Lord Taylor, thanks very much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.